Hello and welcome to Doctor Story, everyone. The topic today that we will be discussing about is science behind weight loss. Sounds new to you? No, but it's still that interesting. At least once in a lifetime, we all have been thinking, gaining insight about weight loss, exercise, diet, etc. Right? Though the search still continues. Today we have with us Mrs. Shiny Surendran. She is the first Indian who completed graduate diploma in sports nutrition from International Olympic Committee. Besides this, she holds various degree certifications from prestigious institutes around the world, such as Sports Dietitian Australia. She was a clinical dietitian at Madras Medical Mission and Apollo Hospital, Chennai. Right now, she has a team of dietitians and runs her own private practice. She also possesses a wide experience in teaching in various colleges, universities, worked with cricketers, swimmers, track and field, badminton, squash, table tennis, wheelchair basketball team, and a lot more. Her area of expertise are PCOS, non-alcoholic fatty liver, weight management, sports and fitness nutrition. Quite active on Instagram through Art of Eating live sessions. We'll share her social media handles in the description box for you. So without taking further time, let's be on board to dive deep into the concept of weight loss. A warm welcome, Ms. Shiny, and welcome to Doctor Story.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ms. Anchal. It's such a pleasure to be here.
As the topic for today is science behind weight loss, let's understand what before the why. So, Ms. Shiny, what does weight loss mean? Like, what do we actually intend to lose in the process?
Oh, that's a brilliant question. You see, most often we cling on to weighing scales, right? And we have all been so used to checking the weight according to the height. So you have those LIC tables, that's where it all started. And a lot of them will just check their height and then also look at the weight, appropriate weight. Now, what happens is over a period of time, we've also realized like it doesn't represent how the body is, the body composition is. We need to know how much is sitting inside there as muscle, and having more muscle is healthier, and then having less amount of fat in your body is much better. So the entire weight loss thing is all about making sure that you're eating the right kind of foods so that you can maintain the right body composition. So it's about having less amount of fat, because you have fat under the skin as well as around the organs. So we call it as subcutaneous fat, the one under the skin, and the one around the organs is called as visceral fat. So you would want to keep as low as possible so that you can protect yourself from a lot of heart diseases or cancers or any other complications, right? Even diabetes and other things. And having more muscle. But when you chase a number on the weighing scale, what happens is it could be water retention or it could be the muscle weight. If you're doing a lot of weight training, you tend to increase the muscle mass. And that weight is actually seen in a negative way if you're chasing only a weight on the weighing scale. So in the right scientific sense, it's all about being metabolically healthy. A person could be very thin, but then they could have quite a lot of fat in them. So there are tests like a DEXA scan, which will clearly tell you how much of body fat and how much of muscle you're carrying in your body.
So what do we lose when we say that there's this weight loss journey or I've lost weight? What do we actually lose in that process?
Okay, thank you. Because, that's such a appropriate question. A lot of people still think, it's just about seeing the numbers go down.
Right.
But then if you're losing the numbers because you're losing muscle, then that's definitely not good. Because as you lose metabolically active tissue, which is muscle, you will regain the weight. Then again, you will go into a loop of low calorie diet, starvation diet, and eventually the weight loss becomes all the more tougher. And your metabolic rate will reduce drastically, which means even if you eat little food, you will tend to gain fat much faster. So the idea is to make sure that you work alongside with a professional fitness expert and increase the muscle mass by doing weight training or strength training sessions thrice a week, or as they recommend after the assessment, and eat a very balanced, healthy diet, which supports your goal. And in the initial phases of any weight loss journey, what happens is you end up losing quite a lot of water. So the moment you reduce the amount of carbohydrate intake, what you're losing is a lot of water. And then as you progress, and if you're cutting down calories, say as low as 600 calories or 800 calories, or just eating 1000, and before a program, if you were eating like say 1800 or 2000 calories, and then drastically you cut it down by 1000 calories, then what happens is the body's in such shock, and it will also adapt by reducing its requirements. It will just try to minimize its expenses and then try to reduce the metabolic rate. Now, body is very smart. So you really have to make sure that you don't make drastic changes,
Right.
because then that becomes a challenge. You won't be able to sustain it for a long period of time. I've
True.
seen people going on ketogenic or it's a very low carbohydrate diet, because 2012 to say 2019, that was very, very popular, right? I'm sure you have heard about keto, paleo so many times.
True.
And people who lost around 30, 40 kgs. And later when I met them after say a year or two, and they said they regained it because they couldn't sustain it. And they also lost a lot of muscle, which means their skin was hanging, they had saggy skin, and they didn't really support themselves with a good exercise prescription, or else getting help from a professional fitness trainer.
Well, you explained much in detail. Thank you so much for that. So, Ms. Shiny, most of us today have sitting jobs. So, physical labor work seldom exists. So, what should we do while sitting or in the break to, avoid that accumulation of fats?
Okay, so the best will be to use a pedometer so that we can count the number of steps. Okay. So all of us end up sitting for long hours and working. So it'll be great if we can have a particular number, say for instance, 10,000 steps per day. So that whenever we have a bio break, we're going to the restroom. So making sure that you take the longest route in the office, or if you're working from home, at least just walk inside the house for 5 minutes after using the restroom. Or if you're going to the kitchen to get some water, and making sure that you climb stairs at least for 5 minutes, at least 1 or 2 flights of stairs and come, so that you just get the blood circulation going. Or say, for instance, you are typing out a mail or preparing slides for a presentation. It'll be great if you can stand and do it. Then in that case, it's much better than sitting for long hours. You're giving yourself some break, and making sure that you keep moving at least every 1 hour would really make a big difference. So I think using a tracker or else a pedometer is one step, because you don't realize how little we move. Because compared to 30, 40 years back, if you were to speak to your parents or else even their cousins or their parents, that is your grandparents, they would have easily covered 5 to 10 kilometers, because it is a way of life. They would have cycled to work, they would have climbed stairs, they didn't have Swiggy, Uber Eats or whatever. So there was a lot of cooking, standing. So that kind of a lifestyle is not there anymore.
So when we talk about steps, how do we actually fix the number that, okay, this is the right the number of steps that I should do on an average, what it could be? How do we decide on that?
Okay. That's a brilliant question. See, I would always recommend that you speak to a physiotherapist, a sports physiotherapist, before starting any kind of fitness journey, because they do a complete analysis and check if any of the muscle is way too tight, or if there is a back issue, or if there is a spine curvature, a lot. Sometimes even if you look at the left leg and the right leg, one could be a little longer than the other. So they would check completely, thoroughly, and see the spine alignment and everything, and tell you exactly what are the exercises to avoid. And with that prescription, you go to the fitness expert, and they'll be able to give a proper prescription according to the height, weight, age, gender, and what you're trying to achieve, and whether the duration, because there are a lot of people who will say, oh, I want to shed around 20 kgs in 2 months, right? Or else there's a wedding coming up, so I really have to knock off the 30 kgs in the next 3 months, and those kind of. So is this a realistic goal or not? Is it possible with your present physical condition? So are you a beginner, intermediate, or else like an elite athlete kind of a physique? Do you have that kind of a conditioning, or what is your exercise history? So it's very difficult to give one number and say do only 10,000 steps a day. I would rather leave this to the experts. The professional fitness trainers are the guys to whom we should talk to.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. At least we just fix random numbers. Okay, we'll do 10,000 this week. We'll do 15,000. We'll gradually increase this. But there are a lot of considerations that has to be taken that you just shared. Okay. So, Miss Shiny, what are your suggestions for people who don't want to exercise or they aren't being able to? Or maybe, we are such creatures, we tend to procrastinate it. Like New Year is around the corner. So most of us would think, okay, we'll start from the first day of January. So we have 50 days like in hand now. So what we can do to curb or not to gain as much as we would otherwise? Or anyway, if we don't like exercise, then what?
Okay. See, the main thing is we do certain things because it's good for us. So the mindset is very important when we approach a wellness goal. See, we might not like Karela or
Hmm.
say a bindi or else a toru, right? But then we understand that if you're not eating healthy, then your immunity is going to be affected, which means you're prone to more infections and you will catch a flu or any seasonal disease that's there in the air. Now, if you ask yourself, are you comfortable popping a pill, which is going to be like really bitter, or you know that it might upset your health in some way by giving you a side effect?
Hmm.
Versus, how about changing your mindset and then telling yourself, chalo, let me eat this sabzi because I know for sure ki over a period of time, my health is going to be fabulous that I don't have to see a doctor's face. I don't have to go for any blood test. I don't have to step into a lab because you could catch some new infection from that kind of a space. Right. So this is one. Next thing is exercise is very, very important. I remember when I was working with a very famous sports physician in YMCA. This was way back in 2000, okay, 2003 and all. So he
Hmm.
would say, I exercise every day because I earn my breakfast. Those are words which the doctor said that is still
Wow.
there in my mind, right?
Hmm.
So you actually go ahead and exercise and earn your meal. Otherwise, you will end up piling. And next thing is also over a period of time with age, your metabolic rate goes low, and there is a very good chance of regaining weight or rather piling up quite a lot of pounds. And hormone imbalances and a lot of things could come. But simple things like, okay, if you don't have access to a gym, if you're sitting in a suburb and there are so many other factors and you have to be sitting and working because you have to feed your family, you can't afford to just step out and
Hmm.
go to a gym or something. The best will be to do a little bit of gardening. You're moving the heavy pots and all that. Or if you're carrying some water, say a bucket of water, or else it could be even taking clothes to the terrace and putting it out for drying, and climbing stairs and walking to a nearby pharmacy, or in case there's some groceries that you need to fetch, and if you have a store which is 2 or 3 kilometers from your home, it's better to go for by walk, or else at least take a cycle, but not a bike. And throughout the day, if there are chores like this, it will actually help a lot to make sure that at least you have the blood circulation going. And these are ways in which you are, see, you go out, step out, walk for a purpose. Say, for instance, you have to get flowers for the puja room,
Hmm.
or whatever place of worship you have in your house, and you want to get some flowers or something, or even buy some candles, or agarbattis or whatever, you step out because there is a task to be completed. You have to go to a bank and get yourself a new checkbook. Okay, then you walk rather than doing things online, because you do have the option of purchasing everything online, but it'll be great when this happens. Then you won't see this as one exercise, but it becomes an activity which helps you move. So I think this will be the easiest way to approach, and yoga is there. Yoga is amazing, and if you can actually talk to a physiotherapist and a fitness trainer, they'll give you so many options if they come and see your house, depending on how much space you have, and they might ask you to invest in few equipments which are not way too expensive, and you can do a lot of things using your own body weight. So that option is also there. You don't necessarily need a gym all the time.
Fantastic advice. Thank you so much again for that. In today's time, we all want quick results, and so we end up into crash diets, three-step solutions, that 5 kgs in a month. We all have been, deliberately or indeliberately even watch those videos too. So what do you opine? Is it just a bait or such things actually work?
Okay, there are a few basics which are like amazing takeaways. See, I've been in the profession for 22 years. And sometimes what I've noticed is rather than doing something fancy, high funda, it's much easier to just stick to basics. So if I were to give you a simple thing, I'm in Chennai and there's a beach here. So one of my client used to go for a walk by the beach. Even if there was a little drizzle, he will carry his umbrella and go. And over a period of 5 months, he actually lost around 17 kgs just by going for a walk for an hour by the beach. He said he really loved it because he could see other people, and then the breeze was great and he just liked staring into the ocean, and sometimes friends would join him, and that actually kickstarted his day. It gave him a lot of positivity because you're also getting a lot of fresh air and sunlight. And he did that on a daily basis, and he lost like 17 18 kgs in 5 months time, which is fabulous. Very minimal investment. You just have to get a good pair of shoes. That's all he did. And then a lot of stretching, warm up, cool down, job done, right? So if I were to give you just 5 things, simple takeaways. First thing is to go to bed on time, because sleep, if you're not getting adequate sleep, and that too between 10 p.m. to 6 a.m., because the time that you go to bed is important. It's not about 8 hours of sleep. It's about going to bed at a certain time and being in alignment with nature. So get to bed by 10 o'clock and wake up by 6 and sleep well without any gadget usage, anything. That's amazing. You won't have any food cravings. Fat loss will be faster. Next will be to drink a lot of water. Hydration is key, because if you're not drinking enough water, we tend to eat more solids. We'll feel hungry more often. Third thing is, make sure that you eat on time. The more we delay, we try to fill it up with biscuits, coffee, tea, and some snack, because we are hungry, but then we are pushing the meal, right? So do that, and have mindful eating, which means not watching television, not watching those debate shows on television, because it can really spike up your BP and then you get so agitated, and then you're watching something that stimulates you so much, and it's not actually good for your digestion too. So sitting at the table, or else, sit down in the kitchen, with your folded legs, and then if you can focus on eating, chewing, mixing up the food with your saliva and grinding it nicely till a nice liquid, and then swallow, that makes a big difference. Another thing will be to eat what is available locally in whichever city you're from, and have, say for instance, if you're having 2 fulkas or else one vati or one katori of rice, make sure that there are 3 cups of vegetables on your plate and 1 cup of dal. And if you are a non-vegetarian, instead of the dal, you can also have any of the non-vegetarian dishes cooked without much oil. So these are simple 5 takeaways. So more vegetables on your plate, focus on more protein like dal, paneer, soybeans, rajma, chana, sprouts, or it can even be some non-veg. I think these are very simple basics. If you could do this, I think you're pretty much sorted.
I think as we rightly, look up to you as the optimistic who sees not exercise or diet, but it's a lifestyle. And yes, these are very simple, doable steps, and we do not have to, get into those crash diets or this exercise or that exercise. It's all about what you do your entire day or your entire life that creates your whole body. So I think, yes, these are pretty much very doable things, and our audience would love to, I think I would vouch for it. I have been trying these things, and it really makes a difference. You are overall happier, healthier with all these things. So now my next question would maybe a silly one, but I think a person who is overweight, can he or she still be healthy?
Okay. Yeah. Okay. This is fantastic, because I've seen some people who go for trekking, but they have this slight paunch. Okay. And there are people who are able to run fast, carry out all their activities. They clean their shelves, sit and clean their car and the bike, and they're super active, super healthy. They're able to squat, lunge. They're able to carry heavy boxes, their own baggage to the airport or to the railway station, but they might not fit into your six-pack image, right? So again, that's why your strength is important, your muscular endurance is important, and how active you are throughout the day is important, because you could have a person who goes to the fitness center for say 1 hour, but then is sitting in front of the laptop for the next 12 hours, right? And then probably they're watching something in the OTT platform, and then at night they end up snacking on some junk, versus a person who is in a job where he's very, very active on his feet. He's walking, moving around, climbing stairs, carrying things. And there's a lot of activity. And even on weekdays, if he's pitching in with the household chores, okay, if he's helping his mother or wife or whomever is at home with some household activity, going to the market or cleaning the vehicles or washing clothes and all that, one can actually see that this person is like functionally very active, and he's eating like say homemade food and 3 solid meals with a lot of sabzi dal, and doesn't overeat or doesn't eat way too often and a lot of junk foods. You can still be fine, right? So it's
Right.
again about, that's why we actually would look at the person holistically and in totality, because it's very important who you are, where you come from, what is your mindset, and what is your lifestyle, what is the budget, how does your blood report look, and also your fitness test, is there any backache or spine issue or any muscular problem. All this has to be looked into before planning something. Yeah, so that was a brilliant question, because I've seen some trekkers, people who go for hiking, but they'll have one slight paunch, and that's okay. That's fine.
I
But
think
then you look
we
at their body
more
composition, it's fabulous. Yeah, yeah,
right, and we more focus on those overweight, the BMIs and stuff, and we see if we fit into that category, then we are healthy or else not.
yeah, yeah. It's better to go work with a professional. They'll save time, and you'll have a lot more clarity, because
Right.
that's what they do day in and day out.
Ms. Shiny, coming back to the diet part of it, what's a balanced diet like? Not in terms of carbs, fiber, protein, but in the simplest non-technical way.
Yeah, okay. See, if you were to eat, say, a aloo paratha or else poha for breakfast, it'll be great if you can add any seasonal vegetable so that the fiber content increases, right? So try to do that for all the 3 meals. Okay, that is one. And try to bring in different colors. For breakfast, one color, lunch, and then for dinner. This again will be much more helpful, because you don't have to look into the science too deep. It's just about bringing in variety. And whatever you eat, for instance, if you were to eat rice, don't eat rice for all the 3 meals. It'll be great to mix it up by bringing in, say, a makki ki roti, or else a bajra or nachni, any of these rotis, so that you have a variety in terms of grains. And then if you're eating dal, say for instance, today it is chana dal, then tomorrow make sure that it is rajma, and the third day it could be mot, like that. So mix up in whatever category, whether it's fruits. If you're buying like a dozen bananas, once it gets over, go ahead and pick up another fruit. So that way you'll have variety through the week. So this is exactly what you need to do. Bring in more colors, and then understand what is the quantity for your age, height, weight, activity. Once you figure out what is the quantity which helps you keep your waist slim, and also to use minimum oil for different age groups. If it's a child, they can have puri bhaji, they can have a chola bhatura, or else like a bhaji bonda pakoras and all of that. For a kid who's like growing up, being active is different. But for elders, of course, according to their health issues, if there are major complications, it's good to take some professional advice. But otherwise, I would rather say eat on time, bring in variety, less amount of rice or rotis, but then fill the plate with a lot more colorful vegetables. And for a snack, eat some fresh fruits, anything available seasonally, and of course, local ones.
Well, thank you so
and
much.
Drink more water.
It's the
Drink
most
water, hydration.
simplest form of balanced diet for all of us to understand. And what would you advise a man and a woman differently if they are starting their weight loss journey?
Wow, this is a fantastic question. I just love it, Anshul. Reason being, there are times a brother sister will come, same house, and they're eating, but then they look differently. Or it could be a spouse, and they're like, "Oh my God, my husband is losing weight much faster," and the lady will be like, "I just don't like it. Can you just give him a lot more to eat so that he catches up?" Okay, so jokes apart, the main thing is women, because of their ovary and uterus, the monthly periods, there will be water retention. They are more prone to hormone issues. There could be an ovarian cyst, which we call as polycystic ovarian disease, or there could be adenomyosis, or there could be something to do with their endometriosis. That is again a layer in the uterus. So there are these kind of things. There you will see a lot more hormone related issues because they have ovaries and uterus and something pertaining to that. Okay, so there are huge fluctuations, there are mood swings. So just around the time when the periods is going to come, they might crave for a lot of foods. It could either be a lot more rice, like a fried rice, noodles, or a pasta, or it could be more khichdi, or more idlis and dosas and aloo and arbi, or it could be sweets. So a lot of chocolate. So those 3-4 days in a month, they'll have mood swings, major hunger pangs, or for some it is just, they can't just stop with that one small piece of chocolate. It's a lot more, and water retention will make them gain more weight. So we discourage people from checking their weight just around that time. So that 10-12 days, it's better not to go anywhere near the weighing scale, because it can demotivate a lady client. Okay, so this is the difference. So the rate at which a man loses weight versus a woman is completely different. Metabolic rate is higher, and physiologically, a man has more muscle mass. For the same height and weight, the lady will have a little less. They're made that way. And women also have less fat burning enzymes, because the body is designed to bear a child. And, one has to really focus on strength training. And once they do that and increase their muscle, then their metabolic rate is quite high. It's good. It's pretty normal, right? So these are the two things. These are the variations. Fantastic.
It's the most, I think, the frequent questions that we receive, and we have also Googled about it. There are so much confusions about the diet plan for both of them. And anyway, more of the weight loss journey. Thank you for clarifying that out. So lastly, what do you think are the worst eating habits that aggravates ill health? A big no to them.
Yeah, anything to do with maida, okay, and reheated oils, because you don't know if you're buying some samosas or kachoris or eating some golgappas, anything from outside, you don't know how it is fried and what oil was used. And it could be vanaspati or trans fats or hydrogenated fat that we call it. It can be there in bakery products and peanut butters and all of that. So that can do a lot of harm. Reheated oils and oils which are not stored properly. Excess salt, excess sugar in any form, be it honey, jaggery, white sugar. If you're overdoing it, it's just not good at all. And next thing is also, cooking a food and then keeping in the refrigerator, reheating and eating. That's again not a good thing. Food with a lot of colors, and then also processed foods and anything, because there are certain ingredients added to some of these foods which come in all these packets, because that can really make you quite addicted to a particular flavor. They've done enough market research, and then it goes into some of those foodstuffs, and that makes you crave more and more for that particular taste. So this is one. And next will also be not eating on time. So if you're going to eat late night, the body is supposed to be taking rest. We are all supposed to eat dinner by 6 or 7. And some even eat before sunset, which is fabulous. But if you're eating at very odd times, and if you're skipping meals, then there is a very good chance of a lot of other health issues cropping up.
Well, I can't thank enough, Ms. Shiny. Oh my God, it's been such a wonderful discussion. I believe we now are clear with a lot of things, especially coming from such a renowned nutritionist like you. It's amazing. We appreciate the time that you took off from your schedule. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Ms. Anshul. I really had a fantastic time, because this session was like, I'm so amazed at the kind of questions that you asked. Very relevant. And these are things our neighbors, our cousins, our friends would ask. So if you go to any party or a gathering, and this is the kind of discussion that we always have. And I'm glad that, you put forth these, and which anyone will be able to understand, whether you know science or not. I'm sure they benefit from this session. Thank you for having me here. Such a pleasure being part of this, session. Thank you.
Definitely. Have a great rest of the day, Ms. Shiny. Thank you so much.
Thank you.